So now we are ready to install our target system. So this is going to be a Windows 10 operating system, which is a pre-configured VM. We don't have to go through the installation process. And what I wanted to show you is that there's a couple options. So if we install a target system, which you can find in this link here, there is a couple of different resources where you can install a Windows 10 system or Windows Server environment from an ISO, which would require you to go through the entire installation process, or we can use pre-configured and installed virtual machines. Windows 7, 8, or 10 are available on the Microsoft Edge Developer Store. So you can now either go here and then click the link, or Google Microsoft Edge Developer and Windows VMs. This should give you a couple of links that leads you to the Microsoft Edge Developer page. And under Home, Tools, and VMs, you can see that there's a couple of machines that we can select from. So this is really cool, especially if you want to do any red teaming or blue teaming exercises. We have a couple of Windows 7, 8, and 10 VMs that we can download from here. So for our purposes, we want to pick Windows 10 and then pick the platform of choice. So now this is the hypervisor that you're using. I'm using VirtualBox and I'll be downloading VirtualBox. If you're using any other such as VMware, feel free to pick that package and then just go ahead and we'll download the zip file. Save it under downloads, go ahead and do so. And then this will now take a while. It's gonna be around 7 GB of size. So I'll fast forward and then meet you when we are ready. All right, so once we have downloaded the zip file, you can go ahead and extract it. So I've already done so. You can see my virtualbox.zip file. In your case, if you're using VMware, it might be called Windows 10 VMware.zip. If you extract it, you will end up with a MS-Edge-Windows 10 folder. And within that folder, you can see the VMDK file, which is essentially the disk, and also an OVF file, which is basically the configuration package that comes with the VM. Now, just out of curiosity, if you open this up in a text editor, the OVF file is nothing other than just a basic XML structured text file that includes some of the configuration settings that we'll be getting when we import the VM into our hypervisor. Now you can see right away that here virtual system is called MS-Edge-Windows 10. We'll also see that it has 1 CPU assigned to it. It has 4 GB of memory assigned to it. So this is basically the way how virtual machines are configured. It's a text file that comes with it, and this is how VirtualBox know what to do with it. So long story short, we can go ahead and add the VM into our VirtualBox manager. In order to do so, we can just go to import. It's also under file, import, go to our location, should be in the downloads, and here's the folder. And what you can do there is you can pick the OVF file. So this is the configuration file the VirtualBox needs in order to know what to do with it. Click open. We can do continue. And this is the overview. This is basically a nicer view of the XML file that we just looked at. We can see that this is the name. We can keep that. It's this number of CPUs, the memory, networking. So we will be needing internet access on this machine. So there's no need to change anything. We need to have this VM be able to reach out to the internet and download a couple things. And so we can see the base folder where it's going to end up. And this is all the default settings that we can leave it to, and just click import. So once this is underway, you'll see this is going to take quite some time. And when this is ready, I'll meet you in the next video where we'll continue the setup and configuration of the VM. All right, and here we are. Here we have our first Windows machine imported into our VirtualBox manager. It's called MS Edge Windows 10, and we can keep the name, you can rename it, that's fine. All we need to remember is that this is going to be our target system where we'll be downloading and running our attack script on, and then use it further for the analysis and investigation phase. So we can leave most settings as it is as well. Now, the only important thing to keep in mind is it might be a little slow for you if you're only using a single CPU. So if there's any option to increase that, we can go ahead and do so. That definitely will make our user experience a little bit better. So if we click on settings, now up in the systems tab, there's processor, and we can add at least one more CPU if that's available to you. And so before starting it up now, it's really important. One thing to keep in mind is this is a developer-based virtual machine, so there's a limited license included with it. If we go back to the Microsoft developer page, it actually says that this is a machine that expires after 90 days. However, they even recommend setting a snapshot, so when we install the virtual machine, we can roll back to it later again after the expiration days. So that's really great. We can just use it over and over and over again, but it's important to set the first snapshot before starting it up. Now, in order to do so, we can click on the menu item here and pick the option snapshots. You can see there's no snapshots in here yet. Then we just click take. Then we'll take the snapshot and call it something like initial import. And one thing that we can do, because the password on this system is no secret, it's actually part of the Microsoft developer page where we can download it from. And the password for this, that is password with a 0 and an exclamation mark at the end. So this is good to go. We can now create the snapshot, and now this is ready to start it up. In order to do so, you can now here see on the right hand side there's a start symbol, and with this icon we can now click on it. Now this might have taken a couple minutes, but here we are. So here we have the user login prompt. We can type in the password as password with a 0 and an exclamation mark, and then just wait for the system to load. And then once we are there, we'll follow with the next steps and do some of the configuration that we need to do before we can run the attack script.